This award, this is not for me. This is for the real organizers all over the country, the activists, the civil rights attorneys, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide and impoverish and destroy us cannot stand if we do. All right? It's kind of basic mathematics. The more we learn about who we are and how we got here, the more we will mobilize. Now, this is also in particular for the black women, in particular, who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to nurturing everyone before themselves. We can and will do better for you. Now, what we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day. So what's going to happen is we are going to have equal rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours. Now, I got more, y'all. Yesterday would have been young Tamir Rice's 14th birthday. So I don't want to hear any more about how far we've come when paid public servants can pull a drive-by on a 12-year-old playing alone in a park in broad daylight, killing him on television, and then going home to make a sandwich. Tell Rakia Boyd how it's so much better to live in 2012 than it is to live in 1612 or 1712. Tell that to Eric Garner. Tell that to Sandra Bland. Tell that to Dorian Hunt. Now, the thing is, though, all of us in here getting money, that alone isn't going to stop this. All right? Now, dedicating our lives to getting money just to give it right back for someone's brand on our body, when we spent centuries praying with brands on our bodies, and now we pray to get paid for brands on our bodies. There has been no war that we have not fought and died on the front lines of. There has been no job we haven't done. There's no tax they haven't levied against us, and we've paid all of them. But freedom is somehow always conditional here. You're free, they keep telling us. But she would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free. Now, freedom is always coming in the hereafter. But you know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight. Just a little side note. The burden of the brutalized is not to comfort the bystander. That's not our job, all right? Stop with all that. If you have a critique for the resistance, for our resistance, then you better have an established record of critique of our oppression. If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down. We've been floating this country on credit for centuries, yo. And we're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit. The thing is that just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. A very controversial speech, very on-point speech, very divisive speech, very ill-timed speech, a speech that arguably was directed at the wrong people. So, right speech, wrong people, wrong place, definitely wrong time, and definitely the wrong network. I actually held off on this for a few days because I was waiting to see if Mr. Williams was going to respond to Stacey Dash, who absolutely blasted him and called him out as a plantation slave. Stacey Dash does not get a lot of things right. This one she got right. Everybody sitting in that audience, you are all plantation slaves. Despite Mr. Williams' very passionate speech, most of those words should have been directed at the people in that audience. Most of those words should have been directed at black people. The very black people who were wearing the designer clothes and all the jewelry that he was talking about. But you were all plantation slaves. BET has to be about the most hypocritical, quote unquote, black piece of control or power or whatever it is that you want to call it. BET, Essence Magazine, Ebony Magazine, they are all owned and controlled by white people. There is no way that you can stand up on BET and give a speech like that when BET is about as white owned as the snow is white that falls out of the sky. Your message is falling on very, very deaf ears. Now, rumors have gone around that Mr. Williams will be fired from Grey's Anatomy as a result of that. I don't think so, but let's just say for the sake of argument, he is. Shonda Rhimes is the creator of Grey's Anatomy. So that means a black woman would be firing a black man who spoke out on behalf of black people on a black television award show that is owned by white people. So it would be Shonda Rhimes who would actually be a plantation slave herself if this brother gets removed from that show. But it's all hypocrisy. The speech touched off on a lot of good points, a lot of rehash points, a lot of apologizing to black women, a lot of finger pointing to white people, a lot of stuff, and it really can't cover it in the short amount of time that I have. But let's just talk about a couple of people, Mr. Williams, that you gave respect to, I guess. That being Tamir Rice and Eric Gardner. You're right. Tamir Rice would have been 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and so on if his irresponsible mother wasn't letting him out with a gun, a toy gun that looked like a real gun, out there playing drug dealer. Of course the police are going to get out and shoot first. If I was a cop, I'm going to get out and I'm going to shoot first. Do you think I'm going to give you the opportunity to let me find out if the gun is fake or not? I'm going to put you down. Mr. Gardner, sir, was choked out and died as a result of him loitering in front of somebody else's business repeatedly, selling loose cigarettes repeatedly. And when the police were left with no other alternative but to arrest him, he resisted arrest. The resisting of the arrest, along with the fact that this man had asthma, this man was about 400 or 500 pounds, this man was a father of, I believe, was several children. And you're telling me that a father of several children doesn't have anything else better to do than stand out in front of somebody else's business and loiter multiple times. The two examples you gave are from people who are contributors to their own demise. Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, the kid that was shot 16 times in Chicago. It doesn't matter how many times he was shot, sir. What matters is he was breaking into people's businesses. And when the police rolled up on him, he had a knife, and if one cop decided he was going to shoot, he shot him. Your speech, as far as condemning white people and police and all that kind of stuff, you're partly true. You're more off than you were on. The data that you say that you have that supports this widespread police brutality among black men. Now, I'm sorry, sir, that's BS. More black men killed more black men before the summer broke out this year in Chicago than the police did all year last year. You left that part out, sir. You left out the part about how blacks need to take control, how blacks need to take responsibility, how blacks who are out here committing crimes and doing wrong accept the actions for your responsibilities. If you'd have said that crowd wouldn't have been as supportive as they were. It's easy to bash white people. It's easy to bash white cops. It's easy to bash the system. What's not easy is critiquing our own, and I know firsthand, critiquing our own, checking our own. It wasn't the white cops. that killed Lura Scooter in Baltimore. That was niggas that did that. That was black men that did that. Before you get around to condemning the police, condemning the place where you work, that is total hypocrisy, man. If you were to ask every one of those black people sitting in that audience, I want you to not show up at any more parties, to not show up at any more award shows, to not show up at anything else. This is what you would have heard from them, sir. Not a single solitary one of them would have stood by you or stood up. All this feel-good mess, all this black woman, I apologize, all that nonsense. No, I take that back, because you are partly right when it comes to that. The black woman is in the condition that she's in today. It's because of us, because black men ain't got this shit together in a lot of regards. So we actually created the very ratchet monsters that we talk about on a daily basis. So that's something else that is definitely opened up for discussion. And not to mention, I went to your Twitter page because I really wanted to see if you were going to respond to Stacey Dash. I didn't see a response. I went to Stacey Dash's Twitter page and her stuff was still up. I happened to notice, while you did not respond to Stacey Dash, what you did do was you pushed Ebroji. I'm kind of skeptical of the speech. It was a speech that garnered a lot of attention, and by coincidence, you happen to be pushing the application. Activism and capitalism very rarely go hand in hand. Stacey Dash, what's fair is fair. And while Stacey Dash calls you a plantation slave and whatever it is, and she gets millions of people to zone in on what she's saying, well, she just happens to be pushing a book. She's out on a book tour. If you're about making money, be about making money. If you're about being or doing television or movies, make those changes from within, which means make enough money to hire blacks, hire black writers, hire black technical people, and so on and so on. Mr. Williams is worth about $8 million, so he's insulated from any repercussions that will come as a result of, let's say, him getting fired from Grey's Anatomy, if he in fact got fired. So what? It's not going to affect him. Okay, he's already got money. It is always the ones who have money who tell the ones who don't what they should get up and do, what they shouldn't stand for, what they shouldn't and shouldn't take. I don't question your sincerity, but what I do question is your timing, the place that you said the speech, and who you directed it to. BET is the biggest sham that black people support. And those black people sitting in that audience, and I said this way back during the Oscars, they're going to take whatever crap that system puts out, they're going to like it, and they're going to keep stepping. Because at the end of the day, all black folks like doing, or most of them like doing, is being seen and partying and going to the parties and all that kind of stuff, man. So I'm sorry, none of them are going to back you when you need some serious backup when it comes to the stuff that you were talking about. I appreciate the words, but I'm sorry, man. Wrong place, wrong time, and wrong people. Check your own people first before you check somebody else, because you will find. I also heard that you are going to major in African studies. Well, once you get all of those facts and figures together, sir, you're really going to find that we are the biggest problem that we have when it comes to dealing with us. This is KTM in the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.